Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 565, we're going to talk about Rona. No, not that Rona. Rona, Disciple of Gix. Now, for 3 mana, we get a 2/2 Artificer? Artificer? I don't know. Human. There we go. When Rona enters the battlefield, you may exile target historic card from your graveyard. Now, historic cards are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. And you may cast non-land cards exiled with Rona. So, and you 4 and tap to exile the top card of your library. Uh, I guess Field of Dreams would be an awesome card here. But anyway. So, this naturally makes us want to play with historic cards. And we're going to start off by going through. Yeah, sure, why not? Historic. So, um, this is more of a sampling than anything else. I feel like once I play this deck, I will lean more in one direction, but here's what we've got so far. We have Mana Rocks. Ethereum Sculptor, I'm going to count as a Mana Rock because of the amount of artifacts that we, in fact, are playing. Ethereum Sculptor, Urgolem's Eye, Palladium Mirror, Dimir Key Rune, Dimir Locket, Drake Skull Cameo, Misfeigned Border Post, Prismatic Lens, Leaden Mirror, Silver Mirror, Talisman of Dominance, and, a Dark Ritual for good measure. So, I'm also playing, come back, little bird, don't fly away. Artificer's, Artificer's Assistant, whatever. You cast Historic Spell, you scry, so that's really, really good. Especially with as much historic cards as we have in the deck. Now, the other part of historic, Eldest Reborn, we've got Sagas, Eldest Reborn, the Antiquities War, Elspeth's Nightmare. Those were the only 3 that I felt would fit in the deck. Eventually, I will make a Saga deck, just straight Saga Enchantress. That the idea just appeals to me, but since sagas are now, well, they're not really evergreen. I guess deciduous is what tomorrow would use. We've got to get more sagas because right now you would have to do 5 colors and it would be just mishmash and you couldn't have a theme. But anyway, eventually they print more sagas. I'm gonna make a saga deck. But sagas are power conduit. This card with sagas, it saw a little jump when sagas first came out because you can keep it at 1 chapter. You remove a counter, to remove that chapter counter, and then when you put your next chapter counter on it, you can keep repeating the same effect over and over. Or if you just want to, if you've got several of them in play, and you just want to reset them all and get the first abilities again, you can Ether Snap. Now, it also, exiles all tokens. It also kills all planeswalkers, which is the give and take here, because that's what we're about to move into is planeswalkers. So you may not want to Ether Snap if you've got some walkers out. We have the trio of Ashioks, the Sculptor of Fears. The reason why I'm playing the Sculptor of Fears, now this is the Planeswalker deck one. Yeah, 6 mana. So what? It does plus to draw a card. It minuses to get a creature. Put target creature card from a graveyard. A graveyard, right? And then you just, steal all of somebody's creatures. Then we have the Ashiok the Nightmare Muse and Ashiok the Dream Render. Obnixilis, Hate Twisted, Davriel, and that is it for the walkers. Pretty much Dimir walkers. Now, these are also historic because they are legendary. Now, so this is where it led me. So here we are. We're playing historic cards. So I used in Bolus's Clutches to steal a permanent. We've got Executioner's Capsule for removal and cranial plating because we've got a lot of artifacts. And it's hard to find that give and take for artifacts in black. So, I mean, Erratic Portal to keep, and Crystal Shard to keep putting Rona back in our hands so that we can get her ETB ability over and over and over again. Boom Pile, repeatable, Mindlock Orb because it just upsets a whole ton of players. Skill Borrower, more than likely is going to be a Mana Rock. Tide Hollow Strix because it's a great blocker, right? And, carries a cranial plating well. So here we are with all of these things, and I was like, you know what? This is where the deck sat for a while. And I was like, well, I can go ahead and figure out the non-basic lands. I'm actually taking you through this as the deck was being built. You can tell by the sticker here that is really, really old, and that is like new yesterday. So Rona's been in the box, being in the process of being built for a couple of years. Well, since Dominaria came out. So then I was like, well, I'll just run through the non-basic for blue and black, Temple of Deceit, Salt Marsh, Dismal Backwater, Dimir Guildgate, Terramorphic Evolving Gateway, and then, of course, the Rogue's Passage. And I'm like, so, all right, that's where it's set for a good long while. And I was like, well, I do still need some things, I need some more removal, like Tyrant Scorn, Deathbringer Regent, because sometimes you just got to wipe the board. Siphon Mind is pretty decent card draw. Diabolic Tutor. We're not really tutoring for a combo piece here, so. Now, this is where it got shelved. And I said, well, I'm not exactly certain what I want to do with this. And then it dawned on me that we are playing Sagas and Planeswalkers. Our power conduit messes with counters. So, I was like, let's throw some Proliferate in there, right? Inexorable Tide, the Flux Channeler, Thrumming Bird, Contentious Plan, and we're doing historic, so, we've got some artifacts, so we can add the Throne of Geth. And the Magister Scepter, right? I don't like that glare. So, but then that's where I went off the rails. I'm not going to lie. A couple weeks ago, I pulled the deck off the shelf, and I do this quite frequently with decks that I am in the process of building and haven't finished, and I'll periodically just pull it off the shelf. What am I missing? Why have I not finished this deck? So spread it out, and I'm like, oh, I'm quite a bit of ways. And so then I went through the thing, I was like, okay, Sagas, Planeswalkers, that led me to Proliferate. So we can proliferate the Planeswalkers, we can proliferate, and it struck me on Price of Betrayal, because this way I can remove counters from, artifacts. Now, we can't remove the chapter counters from enchantments, because enchantments is not a valid target here, but opponent. Artifact, creature, planeswalker, or opponent. And that's what got me thinking. I was like, opponent. What is that? Experience? Energy? Or is it poison? If we're going to proliferate, let's proliferate. And I was like, okay, so we're playing historic. So we want artifacts, cranial plating, throwing against, stuff like that. So let's look at the historic Infect cards. So we've got the Ickerclaw Mirror, and the Phyrexian Digester, and the Core Prowler, the Phyrexian Juggernaut, Vector Asp, Pestilent Soul Eater. And I'm like, oh, okay. But then I'm I'm down this rabbit hole, right? And these are not, exceptional Infect cards. They're just Infect cards. So I was like, well, I've got to have a Phyresis and a Tainted Pact to give something. I love Tainted Pact because you can kill somebody with Infect with it not being your creature. It just turns a kind of big creature that's swinging for 10 into, oh, I can't believe you just killed him. The Corrupted Conscience, kind of there again. For the same price, for the same mana price as Mind Control, you give it Infect. So then, I was there, right? The Blighted Agent, the Plague Stinger, Icarats. Icarats, very, very valuable. Probably one of the most valuable Infect cards in the deck because everybody, just when it enters the battlefield, everybody gets that free counter. Everybody gets a poison counter that you can, because sometimes getting that first poison counter is hard enough because, let's face it, your creatures are smaller than everybody else's. And hence the reason for the Rogue's Passage in this particular deck. But getting that first one, you can proliferate the rest, right? Septic Rats, Viral Drake, Contagious Nim, Chain Throat Seer, Blackleaf Goblin, Grim Affliction, -1/-1 counter on something and proliferate. Instill Infection, -1/-1 counter and draw a card. And our last card is Spread the Sickness. I really, I had to put it in here because it matched the theme. It proliferates. It's removal. The name is unfortunate. The name of the whole dang deck is unfortunate. I'll admit, in these worrisome times, wear your mask, folks. Wear your mask. Don't spread the sickness, okay? That being said, that is it for Miss Rona. Ever since that card was printed, there was a really, really, I'm going to show my age here. By the way, stats for the deck. I used, in this deck, 11 cards that I have never used before in any of the other decks that I have listed on Arcadeck, because that's a thing it shows you when you list it. And the deck value is, at the time of recording, 6532. I may, as I said, I may in fact do something different with it when after I play it and whatnot. But that is Rona, number 565, getting on up there. Now, I'm recording this ahead of time. If you realize I'm wearing the same shirt I was in the last video, because I just recorded both of them kind of back to back. But Friday, this upcoming Friday, for me, it's probably, who knows, for you. So, is the Ikoria C20 release and here in North America. So there are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36, 37. There are 37 decks. Is that right? Yeah. 37 decks that those two sets will provide. I have all of the, I've pre-built as much as I can without the actual cards, the new stuff. So you're probably in the middle of a whole bunch of box busting videos because, if I'm going to open the stuff anyway, I might as well video it, right? So I appreciate y'all watching. Stay safe, everybody, and hope y'all enjoy. But right now, oh, by the way, below in the show notes, starting with this video, uh, I am personally listing and thanking all the patrons. Thank everybody for watching and subscribing and sharing. That subscribing helps a bunch. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, you're still watching 15 and a half minutes in, hit that subscribe down there. I realize that this channel is not for, this is a subset of a subset of a subset. I get it. Not every Magic player is going to care. Not every EDH player is going to care because I'm doing literally every single commander. And like my buddy Jimmy doesn't play black or red. So I know anytime I do a deck that has black or red in it, he's not watching. And I'm sure there's a lot of folks like that. It's just not their thing, and I get it. But I appreciate you liking, subscribing, sharing. Thanks to the patrons below. And with that, I think we're going to shuffle and cut.